Thanks for tuning in to Sin's Workshop. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. So, it is time for my reading wrap-up. Okay, so today it's going to be a little wild. Hopefully not too wild. I only managed to read, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I read 15 books, which is one more than I did last month, but of course I did not read all 18 books that I wanted to. I took a lot of segues this month because I was on a lot of street teams. Not a lot, too. I was on 2 street teams. So, of course, I had to read those 2 books. One of them kind of put me in a little bit of a reading slump. The other one, not so much. The other one was actually quite a delight. And it's funny because the one that kind of put me in a slump is the one I really wanted to read. And the one that kind of took me back out of the slump was the one that's just like, it's free. Let me just read it. And I'm like, wow, I really like this. But let's just get into it. I started off the month with Kingdom of Waves by Melissa de la Cruz. One, I'm mad that I did not know this was part of a series. I should have known. Because that ending, I need book 2 in my hands, and I need it in my hands now. So I'm really irritated by that. It was a really, really good book. I liked the way Melissa de la Cruz uses colonialism in the book. You know, not just colonizing by invading, but also by erasing, you know, history and culture and, you know, mythology. I think it was a really well done novel, personally. I love Melissa de la Cruz's writing style. I think I've said that before in my reviews. Her writing style is very fluid, and I like her characterization as well. I think my only hiccup here is I wish that there was more development in the romance aspect, which is, you know, funny coming from me. But I felt like the kiss at the end kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, we still hadn't seen the 2 main characters really become friends, right? So I think I would have liked it if we had seen a little bit more development in their dynamic and their relationship, because there was like a 3-week time jump, and I'm like, oh, so now they're friends. So I wish we had seen that time instead of it just being like, nope, we're just going to keep moving on with the story and the plot. I can commend De La Cruz for that, but I really wanted a little bit more focus on that relationship aspect of the book, because I think it would have made it stronger. I mean, don't get me wrong, that ending was still like a gut punch, and I'm like, what the fuck? Very upsetting to me. Very upsetting. And now Tristan and the Majesteria. So this is the book that kind of put me into that slump, unfortunately. I wish I had loved this book. First of all, I think my biggest issue is if you go on Amazon or you go on Goodreads, it's called Tristan and the Majesteria. Queer rom-com fantasy pirate adventure. Okay. Where was the queerness is my biggest thing. Did I miss a detail? It really was boring. It really was boring. So about, you know, halfway through the book, I just kind of started skimming and speed reading because I just wanted to be done with it. But I wanted to read it to try to give it the best review that I could. And anytime something started to get interesting, I'd backtrack and actually read. But those moments were few and far between. And then I ended up just kind of skimming again because like, we're in a lull again. It's very much a slice of life kind of story, which I don't mind. Slice of life, you know, Legends and Lattes. I love cozy fantasies. I really do love cozies in general. But something has to happen, you know, for me personally. There has to be something happening. And yeah, in the background, you know, someone is kidnapping mages. You know, another pirate is kidnapping mages. All that fun stuff. But you know, the magical mice were cute because they're the all-powerful witches. I thought that was cute. But I wanted more piratey adventure. You know, they're going from port to port to port on their way to the coronation. And it just felt it was way too long. Way too long. I think there had to be something happening. Something needed to happen earlier than at the 75% mark of the book. And I'm like, oh my God. It was boring to me, and I'm really upset by that. So maybe I missed the queerness, because Tristan, as far as I know, was born a man, has always been a man, and then he falls in love with the pirate captain, who's a woman, and who there's no question about her gender. Like, so I'm like, is there like a bi? There is like some bi curiosity in the book. You know, Tristan's like, oh, he's attractive, and I'm like, oh, so he's gonna hook up with the guy, right? So there is some bi curiousness in there, but nothing was really ever fully developed. So please don't market a book as queer unless you're really going to delve into the queerness of it. Just say it's a rom-com, because it very much is a rom-com. Except not yes and no. It was just really boring to me. And I don't like it when publishers and authors mismarket their books. It's a pet peeve of mine. If you're going to say a book is something in your tagline, then you have to make sure that you can represent it in your story. And maybe it did. Maybe there is some detail I missed, and I can be completely wrong. Again, it bored me so much, I just started skimming it just so I could be done with it. So, you know, it was okay. Not my favorite. Kind of put me in a little bit of a reading slump, unfortunately. After that, I read the graphic novel of To All the Boys I Loved Before. First and foremost, I have not actually read the book itself, like the book. This was a gift from the publisher to me that unfortunately got ruined in the rain because the post office did not put it in the mailbox. They left the package out, and it was a torrential rainstorm kind of day. I enjoyed the book, the graphic novel. I love the movie on Netflix. It's cute. I love rom-coms. So I really, really loved the movie itself. So I'm like, okay, you know what? This is the perfect opportunity for me to actually read it without actually buying it, because it's not my type of book, which is funny enough. I don't have to read everything. As much as I want to read everything, I don't have to read everything. So this was the opportunity for me to actually read the book. I like the art style of the graphic novel. I think it really did capture the essence of the story itself. You know, that whole young adult element with the romance. I thought it was cute. I like the character dynamics. I think the artist did a really good job with the characters themselves. It was fun. You know, it's not like a book I needed to own or needed to keep, so I just, gifted it to my work library, I guess you could say, so that my fellow coworkers could read it themselves. Again, it is ruined, so I would not donate that to the library like I usually do, or to my book club, because it is ruined. So, anyone who wants to read it can read it now. But, it really was a fun book to read. I'm glad I was given the opportunity to finally read it. But again, it's not 100% a me book, so I'm not going to go out of my way to actually pick up the physical novel. If you think I'm missing out, you can let me know in the comments. But I liked the graphic novel for what it was. I followed that up with the Chowder. I said Chowder. Chowder House Murder. I'm sorry. I grew up in Boston, okay? Boston. I love this book. This is a perfect example of a cozy that I did love. It is a cozy mystery, another gift from the publisher, by Lee Hollis. I've never read anything by Lee Hollis. Apparently she writes a lot of cozy mysteries. I love cozy mysteries. I like that we are still getting that slice of life kind of aspect, that makes a cozy. And more than that, we have three POVs, three women, Audrey, Jill, and Maggie. And Audrey's, in her 20s, fresh out of college, really, working at the diner. Her mother, Jill, is the chief of police. And then you have Maggie, who, is pretty much the matriarch of, like, the town itself, right? They decide, hey, there was a murder at the Chowder House, so let's go... Chowder House. Let's go investigate it. And just like, no, you guys can't investigate it. I'm investigating it. Like, well, it happened on our trip, so we're also going to investigate. It has a nice, fun dynamic. It is fun. There is still murder happening. There's something happening. Do you understand? And that's why I like this cozy, because there is still something that is happening throughout the story. You know, with each of the characters, they're all investigating something, and plot devices keep happening and things keep coming alive. I will say some of Audrey's arc in the story, because it is 3 POV, so just follow each person. Audrey's arc does kind of take a turn into the left. I'm like, okay, but how does this tie into this specifically? I'm confused. It didn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, so now there are 3 murders. One is a cold case. But I'm like, okay, but how does the cold case? It really doesn't. It's just something that she stumbled onto in her investigation, but it kind of came out of left field, considering she's trying to investigate the poisoning that happened at Chowder house. So it's just very interesting. That part of the story didn't make a whole lot of sense for me, but I still enjoyed the cozy atmosphere. I love the characters. I thought it had really good character dynamics and really good characterization. It was funny. It was lighthearted, but you still had the tension that does live in a mystery. So there was a really good amount of rising tension, and I really did enjoy that. See, that's a perfect example of a cozy I did like. I followed that up with, I read these 2 back to back. Champion of Fate and Warrior of Legend by Kendar Blake. I like Kendar Blake. I read her other quartet, you know, 3, why can't I remember the name of it? Not 3 Broken Crowns, right? No. Ooh. I wish I could remember the name of it. But I have read other books by Kendar Blake, right? Okay. This one was so different than her others, and I like that. I like when an author is able to really write something very different. I think, you know, again, I read these 2 back to back. I didn't take a break between them. I went right from one to the other. Really good characterization. I like how different it was. I liked that romance aspect, because they go from friends to lovers to enemies to lovers again between, you know, both books. But that ending killed me. This is another one where the ending just killed me. And the thing is, there is no 3rd book. It's not a cliffhanger per se, but it is very much an open-ended ending. So if Blake wanted to come back and write a 3rd book, she most certainly could. I would very much like it if she did, because you cannot leave me like that with the lovers separated. You can't. I'm emotionally attached to them, okay? I'm invested. I am invested in their relationship, and now he's kind of in, spoilers, he's in this, like, Sleeping Beauty state, but she thinks he's dead, and it's bullshit. Bullshit. I want to know that they live happily ever after, damn it, after everything that they've been to. Ooh. Everything that they've been to. They deserve it. So I'm just, like, very upset by that. But, again, really good characters, good world building. I like the fantasy aspect. I like this Amazon kind of warrior aspect to the storytelling. I think it was really good and really well done, honestly. And again, that ending killed me. I'm emotionally invested in them, okay? Don't you judge me. I followed that up with All We Hunger For. This was another arc given to me by the publisher. Just think Great British Bake Off meets French Revolution meets fantasy. It's really, really actually addicting to read. I picked it up because I like baking. You know, I love those baking shows. Great British Bake Off, Hell's Kitchen, MasterChef. It's more baking in this book, not so much cooking, so that's why I say Great British Bake Off. But, you know, I the first thing I do when I go on vacation is look for the Food Network, okay? Because I love watching people cook and create things like that. I just do. And so that's what really got me. But then you also have like this kind of French atmosphere to the book and a French Revolution feel, because you do have revolutionaries. In fact, our main character is the daughter of a woman who led the previous rebels and who was murdered. And, you know, her attempt to revolt failed. So now Alara is just trying to just be a baker. She just wants to bake. But, you know, her eyes get opened up and she's like, you know what? There is more than just baking, you know. People are starving. In fact, she imbues her food because that's what the competition's all about. Like, can you use your magic to enchant the food, basically? Like, is your magic strong enough to be the next sovereign, the art de culinaire, right? Or the sovereign of the culinary arts, rather. And at one point in the competition, she imbues her food, and when they take a bite out of it, they're greeted with this unfamiliar feeling of starvation. And she's like, what you're feeling is starvation. That's what everyone on the other side of the river goes through every single day. And the cure for it? A simple glass of milk. Not even magic imbued. It was just a simple glass of milk. So she really starts to believe what her ex-boyfriend has been telling her about. And she really wants to make a difference, you know? And she wants to win the competition to make a difference. And then she meets, you know, her patron is Nick Dupont. He's the bastard son of La Fontaine, and he's a true bastard, let me tell you. And he just wants his father to, you know, really acknowledge him and give him his last name. So he's an artist, you know, that's his magical talent, to imbue artwork with, magic, basically. And his dad is like, no, you want to prove it to me? You're going to be like a mortician, almost, I guess is the best way to say it. But he, you know, his heart's not in it. And then him and Alara, you know, they're all like tensiony, and of course they fall in love, and it's adorable. But it's a really, really good high tension story. And I really enjoyed the storytelling. I enjoyed the baking aspect of the story. It was a lot of fun. I was like hooked. I was hooked. I followed that up with 12. This was another gift from the publisher. I'm trying really hard to get through a lot of the arcs that I have, as you can see. I like that this book combined astrology, with witchcraft. So basically, whatever sign you're born under determines the type of magic you can use. And, you know, within every decade, there are 12 that are born that can make a coven, right? And it's really, really interesting to see the story just kind of evolve and develop. And I thought I saw the ending coming. I was horribly wrong. So much misdirection. But it tied really well into the character dynamics. And at the end, I was just like, you know what? I should have seen this coming, given the way the characters were shifting and growing and just their overall dynamic. I really, really thought, well, I don't want to spoil this one for you. I thought one of the sisters was going to go in this direction, and instead it was the other sister who ended up going in that direction. And the sister I thought was going to go in that direction because the story felt like it was going to go in that direction, ended up going in the complete opposite way. And I was like, whoa, didn't see that coming. You know, just with how the characters started to their ending, but that shows a lot of character development, you know, and I like that when a story kind of catches me off guard like that. And then in hindsight, you just think, you know what? There are lots of foreshadowing to this, given the character development and the actions that they took. I should have seen this coming. But it was a really, really good story. I like the twin sister aspect. It was very much like Charmed, but with 2 witches, and it's tied to the zodiac. So that was really, really cool. It's also really queer, just so you know. I followed that up with The Stars Are Dying. So this was the book club pick for my virtual book club. I liked it, but I didn't love it. I thought I was going to love it. However, my biggest grievance with this book is Estrella herself, because she's very flat as a character for about half of the book. I understand why, though. It makes sense. It's not like she's flat just for flat's sake. She has no memory of anything past 5 years. All she remembers is the last 5 years. And Hector her boyfriend, master, whatever, he keeps her captive, you know, under the illusion of, I'm keeping you safe, I'm keeping you protected. There are many people who would want you, would like to hurt you, kind of thing, right? And in the beginning, it's like, oh, she doesn't know anything, so of course she's going to believe it. But as time goes on, you know, she kind of hates it. She wants nothing more than to escape. So their whole story is very much toxic, and she just wants to escape the toxic atmosphere and the toxic world, right? So she, once her best friend dies, kind of rescuing her, she enters in the competition, which is very much Hunger Games, very much, you know, Serpent in the Wings of Night. Because if you win the competition, your region will be provided safety for, I forgot how many years, from the vampires, basically. And there are two types of vampires, which I thought was really interesting. You've got your regular bloodsuckers, and then you have soul drinkers, as I like to call them. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. I like this. This is different. But Estrella, you know, it makes sense why she's a flat character. She doesn't have an identity because she was not allowed to have an identity. And as the story progresses, I mean, this isn't really a spoiler. You kind of get it from the beginning. Like, she is a reincarnation of someone very important to Night. I thought Night was great. At the end, though, their whole dynamic I was very confused by. I was just like, okay, you love her or hate her? What do you want from her? You want to die? You don't want to die? I'm very confused here. I want more information, and I know I'm going to get the more information from the following books, which is why I'm not like completely mad or disappointed. You can tell that the author is using this book to build something more. It's very evident in that, especially in the mythology and the world building that's going on. You know, I think the author did a really good job with the world building and did a really good job with building the mythology around Estrella. So obviously she can't just reveal everything in this book. So I have no doubt in my mind that things will be clarified in the following books, which is why I'm not mad by it. But I will say, when it comes to Estrella as a character, I thought the characterization for all the other characters was done very well. It's solely Estrella. And while it makes sense, it is still something that I have to pick on, because it's like, well, it makes sense. However, you know, that doesn't mean I have to like it. I get it, but I don't like it. Like, I'm not a fan. And from someone, my best friend did try to read this book, and she just, like, could not get into it. I think she DNF'd it once. She's like, I'm not getting into it. And after reading it, I'm like, this is why you're not getting into it. You know, there's not really a whole lot of good characterization. And even though the world building is really good, there's still a lot of open questions that limit how much you can ground yourself in the story. So I liked it. I enjoyed it. However, I understand now why she has DNF'd it twice. Although I think that if she were to audiobook it and like really audiobook it, she would end up really liking the book. I personally do strongly believe that. But I understand now why she has not finished it. It makes sense. I followed that up with The Executioner Prince. This was an unexpected delight. This was the book I said earlier where I'm just like, I don't really want to read this book. I'm very picky when it comes to dark romance books or dark romantasy books. I don't really like that kinds of stuff, like, at all. That's not my cup of tea. However, Harrow and Thorne were very much Louis and Lestat. They were very much that dynamic, and I was all here for it. The toxicity, I'm here for it. I liked the characterization. I liked the pacing. I liked the romance that was going on here between them. I think the only thing that I didn't like is I wanted more structure in the world building, and I wanted a little bit more structure in the mythology. I wasn't quite understanding how the magic system worked here with the titans and the gods. So I wanted a little bit more clarity to go with that. But overall, I thought it was really, really well done. Again, I was like, shit, I really like this book. I did not think I was going to like this book. I thought I was going to love the other one, Tristan and the Majesteria. And I didn't like that one. And this one, the one I was just like, I don't know that I'm going to like this book, but let me just give it a shot. And this is why I do street teams. Because they get me out of my comfort zone, and I'm forced to read something that I wouldn't normally pick up. And then things like this happen. Sometimes it's like, it's always 50-50. I'm either going to love it or I'm going to hate it, you know? So that's why I like to do street teams, because it gets me out of my comfort zone, and I'm able to really read things that I wouldn't normally pick up and be thoroughly enjoyed by it. I really did want this book. I need my boys back together. I already messaged the author. I'm like, please tell me another book is in the works. Please. Because I need my boys back together. And she said, yes, there is. So I'm like, okay, cool. Woo! Hallelujah. I need my boys to be back together. Because them being separated at the end? No, not a fan. Not a fan. There is a lot of brutality in the book. Not between the two characters, but I mean, Harrow, he also goes by the serpent of Nephilim, I think it's how it's pronounced. I don't know, but I'm always that's another thing I needed a little bit more clarification. Like, he's a knight, and I'm like, okay, he's a knight. Does he murder people they do deserve it? Although one of them's like really gruesome, and he like makes a whole display out of it, and I'm like, holy fuck, dude! Like, I didn't need a whole display of people's heads on. It was something out of like George R. R. Martin, honestly. Heads on pikes, hanging, from a table. It's like, it was gruesome. But I just needed a little bit more clarification. Like, he's a knight, and he's also an assassin. Does he hide his? There wasn't a whole lot of clarification on, does he hide his identity or not? Everyone he kills dies, and like that. And same thing with Thorn too. He's the executioner prince. He cannot touch people, except he can touch Harrow. I mean, their lives are literally interlinked by the magic of Thorn's mom. But it really was a really good book. I ended up really enjoying it, and I was really, really pleased that I did. The book that I ended up reading every night to my kids was Dragonborn. And you know what? I think this book should have won Barnes & Noble's Kittens Reading Award. School of Thieves won, and I haven't read that one, so maybe that's just, me being biased. But I really, really wanted Dragonborn too, and I'm like, yay, Dragonborn. And not just because it's dragons. It deals with grief. It deals with fear. It deals with loss. Identity. It has a lot of really good themes to the story, and how fear is okay. Having fear is okay, but you have to remember there's a dragon inside you. Let the dragon out. Be fierce, be ravenous. And I thought that was like a really good message in the story. And it takes Alex a long time to find the dragon that she is, because she's so driven by the loss of her father and the way her mom kind of kept her contained, because her mother knew she was a dragon and really just wanted to just keep her from being that, because misguided attempt to keep her safe. There's a whole lot in the story that I thought was very moving and very touching and very beautiful. And I don't think my kids are, they're 4 and 6. I don't think they're quite gonna understand all of those themes, but I get those themes. So I'm just like, yeah, be the dragon. Be a dragon. Collect your treasures. My son's always collecting treasures. I'm like, oh my god, my son's a dragon. I'm like, oh, that tracks. I'm a dragon. My treasures. So, it was a really, really heartwarming story, especially at the end, when she finds her dragon and she makes her peace with her father's death, and she, realizes he will always be there with her. It was such a moving and beautiful story, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. This book should have won. This one. I stand by that statement. I followed that up with Verity Guild by Mia Corlin. So, earlier this year I did finish reading 4 Ruined Realms and 3 Shattered Souls. I did finish reading the 5 Broken Blades trilogy. This one's very different. I can tell it's the same writing style. I like her writing style, personally. Her writing style does border on new adult and an adult. I like her writing style, honestly. There's an ease to her writing style. This one is only a dual POV novel, and I liked, this is another one. What is it with Roman right now? It's like, will of the many, strength of a few. There's another one. Fallen City? Yeah, Fallen City, Adrian Young. I'm like, what is it with Romans right now that's trending? I guess it's really cool. You know, it's a cool theme. This one's, again, another Romanesque themed atmospheric novel. There is fantasy. I think, I can't decide if I like it more or not than her previous. There is an ease to her storytelling. She writes very fluidly. You know, you just kind of get sucked into the story. And I like her characterizations. You know, Torin and Kara. I wanted to say Tonin for a second. But Torin and Kara, her name is Caracia, but we're just going to call her Kara. I liked their dynamic. I liked that it was almost like, and then there were none, almost, as well, because they're trapped. The council is trapped, and now people keep dying. And someone's trying to frame Kara. And Tor, who kind of hates Kara, he's just trying to figure out who it is. But it turns out he doesn't really hate Kara. Totally hot for her. She's totally hot for him. It's great. It's great. There are some sexy, spicy scenes closer to the end of the book. Yeah, they were pretty spicy. So, you know, really good characterization, really good storytelling. I liked the Roman feel. I liked that it also made me feel like I was an Agatha Christie mystery as well. People keep dying. You're trapped by a snowstorm. There's no way out. The murderer is in the place with you. Who the fuck is it? Options could be anyone in this little senate here. Any one of them. They're all power-hungry bastards. But the moment you think it's this person, you're like, oh, that person just turned up dead. Okay, who's it now? Who is it? And then, you know, Kara has her own secret as well. Honestly, it really was a good story. I very much enjoyed it. I very much want to read the second book when it comes out, which means I have to go buy this one now because I had the ARC. My friend Gina had the ARC from Red Tower, so she gifted it to me. I gave it back to her in case she wanted to give it to someone else. So now I have to go buy the book so that way I can have a complete fucking set. Because, again, it read really quickly. There was lots of ease to the storytelling. And it moved at a really, really fast pace. So, thoroughly enjoyed it. From my friend Jeff's book club, I read Voidwalker by MacLean. Yo, totally good book. Totally good book. Another one I get spicy later on in the book. Totally good book. Fiona Mata. I love her as a character. She's snarky. She's sassy. My friend Jeff, he's like, she's a little annoying in the beginning. I'm like, really? I don't really think she was annoying. I kind of liked her. She doesn't know when to shut up. She has a lot of PTSD. And you can definitely tell she's trying to deal with her PTSD. I loved her relationship with her brother. With the dairy, I thought, ooh, that was hot. So it's like a little bit of a monster romance almost. To think Beauty and the Beast, it very much is kind of like Beauty and the Beast, in a lot of ways. I will read anything and anything that's a Beauty and the Beast retelling. Okay, I think I've said that before. I really, really enjoyed the book. It was long when I saw it. I'm like, damn, this is chunky. I did end up audiobooking it because I have not received my Illumicrate version yet. So I'm very glad I ordered the Illumicrate, and I'm very happy that I ordered Sunsplitter as well, because I am looking forward to that, let me tell you. I think Voidwalking is a really cool aspect of the story. I liked kind of like that, the fantasy element in the story. It was really unique to me. It was really fresh. I liked the Dairies in the book. Well, I liked him, but I like the concept of them in general. I think it really was an interesting story. I'm glad that we, read it, because I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I can't wait to read book 2, honestly. She's a really good character, in my opinion. I like her journey as well. Single POV novel, but her journey, how she learns to make peace with herself, I thought was very moving and touching. Because it takes literally an entire book for her to learn to forgive herself for the things that she did in the back. The things that she did because she was scared. And you get why she's scared. Like, you totally understand where she was coming from. And all you want to do is shake her and be like, it's okay. You are safe now. You're safe now. That's really just all you want to do by the time you get to the end of the book. I followed that up with, let's see if I can unlock my tablet here. Ooh, The Strength of a Few. Yo. This book took me longer than I thought to read it because you're going between all 3 of the worlds here. One's a little bit kind of like Egyptian, and one is Celtic, and you have your Roman, world here, right? You're going between all 3 versions of this, and I'm so glad I went back and forth between physically reading it and audiobooking it, because I literally had to just kind of keep my head on straight. I'm like, wait, which realm are we in again? What's going on? So when I would finish audiobooking it, I would go back to my physical book and I would just kind of like skim over everything that I read, just so that I could orient myself and be like, okay, so that event took place in this realm, and this event took place in this realm. I very much do highly recommend the immersive reading for this book. I very do recommend that, just because it's a lot that's happening, right? And I felt like I absorbed a lot of the information deeper when I was immersive reading versus just physically reading it and then audiobooking it at separate times. Because I did all 3, depending on when I was reading it and the time allotted to me. Sometimes I only had time to audiobook it. Sometimes I only had time to physically read it. So the days of the week where I had time to like really immersive read and just was able to like block out an hour and just read while I was listening to it at the same time were very, very helpful, because it's a lot of information. You're going through 3 different realms and like 3 different versions of Viz, and first of all, that fucking ending, that plot twist, like what the fuck? So much shit happened at the end that I reread it, just like with the first book. I reread it, not twice, 3 times. I reread the last 5 chapters because I had audiobooked them and then I had physically read them during my lunch break. And then I'm like, you know what? I locked myself in my room and I'm like, I need to reread these last 5 chapters, husband. Please leave me alone. Don't let the kids bother me. And I just immersed myself in it so that I could understand like what the fuck was going on. Wild shit, let me just tell you. Absolutely wild shit. This book is trippy as fuck, honestly. But it's so good. It's so good. There are a lot of characters to keep track of, I will say. And again, you're going between 3 different realms. So I did have like a little notepad because I didn't write in the book, but I'm like, okay, so this realm is this. That way, when I was audiobooking it, it would be like, res, because each chapter has like the symbol of the realm that you're in. But I kept thinking it was going to be, when I first started reading it, he was going to go to sleep, wake up in another realm. And then when he'd, go to sleep, he'd wake up in another. So it is 3 different versions of him existing at the same time. Not so much, I'm going to wake up in a different realm when I go to bed. Like, no. But it was really, really good. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I can't wait to read book 3. This is definitely a book I'm gonna have to reread before book 3 comes out. I'm going to have to reread books 1 and 2 before 3 comes out. There's no way in hell I'm not gonna, so I'm gonna have to like, good thing I have the audiobooks. I'm gonna have to like carve out time when book 3 comes out to be like, okay, time for a re-listen. Let's do this shit. But honestly, such a good book. And last but not least, Cardcaptor Sakura, Volume 8. I love this artwork. I love the cutesiness. I love Sakura and Shaoran and Tomoya and Toya and Yue and Kiro. I love these characters. And they have one more volume. So sad. I hope they'll do clear card art as collector's edition, honestly. I wish they would just fucking finish animating clear card. In any case, it was a lot of fun to reread Cardcaptor Sakura. My daughter loves it too. So, you know, I can't wait to like gift them to her when she gets older and be like, well, now they're yours now for you to have. Because that's why I keep a lot of my books. And I'll look back at my books sometimes and be like, you know what, I can get rid of this one. But I know for a fact she's very much going to want these because she already wants them. And it's like, you can have them when you get older. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. It's like an end of an era. I'm rewatching Clear Card right now on Crunchyroll, so not quite end of an era. But, you know, it was a lot of fun and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I love Cardcaptor Sakura. And I love the art style and just the way it moves on the page. It's fun. It's cute. And I love it. So yeah, in any case, those were the 15 books I read. Wish me luck for next month. Because of course I have a huge TBR. And if you read any of the books that I've read this past month, let me know what you thought of them in the comments below. I love having discussions about books, clearly. In any case, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you all for tuning in. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with all your book-loving friends. And as always, happy reading.